it can be quite difficult to manage at times. But you're a team, but it's also an individual sport.
Saturday night, you are making your debut against Joanna Roshi at Rainton Meadows Arena. I've been aware of you for some time now, since the amateur game. Let me back to the early days first.
So I've been boxing about 10 years in total. Been on the GB squad for about 5 years in total. I was on like the development part-time and then got moved up to podium after winning my second ABA title. And I've done all I can as an amateur, I believe. The weight category I was boxing at, it's super lightweight. It wasn't an Olympic weight, so there wasn't really that progression for me anymore with JB. And I thoroughly enjoyed my time with JB and got invaluable experience travelling all over, made friends for life on the squad. But thought now's the time to turn professional. I'm 30 now, so I feel like I've learned so much in the amateurs. I'm physically like in the best shape I've been in. I feel strong now. Before I decided to turn pro, I used to go around a lot of the gyms sparring the professionals, and I'd go down and spar Natasha Jonas, Chantel Cameron, and just to get a feel for the pro game. And I feel it made me want a piece of it, and I feel like my style suits the professional ranks. And I'm excited just to get started in less than a week now.
Just take me back to this kind of, you're on the squad, you're on the development squad, and then you have to wait for somebody realistically to either perform badly or, I don't know, get injured to move up. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got on to the sort of development squad just before Tokyo. And then I was quite inactive really, because just before Tokyo, then COVID hit. And then the people who were going to Tokyo, I was never meant to go to that Olympic cycle. They were getting the priority, getting sent to tournaments and stuff like that. When the Tokyo Olympians turned over, that's when it moved up then to people leave, and then it's like a conveyor belt really at GB. It is quite it's competitive and stressful environment, because you're living with the people who are also competing for the spot at the same weight, and it's a unique environment in that it can be quite difficult to manage at times. But you're a team, but it's also an individual sport. Yeah, you just have to focus on yourself while you're there. But I enjoyed it.
I think it has its pluses and minuses. You get to compete with some of the best people in the world regularly. You get to train alongside and have the best nutrition, coaches, etc. But is it a double-edged sword that you've got this talent, like you were saying, you don't get out as much as you wanted to get out, and then on the flip side, it's like, I'm training full-time, I'm sparring full-time. This can have a toll on my body. Is it a double-edged sword sometimes?
It is, and I do think it does take a toll on your body. Like when I was on JB, I was like the fittest and most ready to go all the time I've ever been. But it does take a toll on your body, and you don't realise that at the time. But since taking a step back from JB and learning that your body doesn't need to be ready to go all the time as a professional, and my new coaching team have helped me with that, because it took a while to adjust after leaving the squad, and I picked up a few injuries from overtraining and making weight. And I think a lot of people who are in the squad, like you said, it's a fine line between being the fittest you've ever been and your body completely breaking.
Please don't forget to like, share and follow, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you know when we drop new content.
When I was finishing at JB and I was struggling to make the weight in the end, and training 3 times a day, I actually got stress fractures in my spine, and they said that one of the reasons for that was from overtraining and trying to make weight all the time, constantly under fuel.
What does that do to you mentally though as well, that you're always in, like you say, it is a stress on the body, but mentally you are always, I can't think what the word is, you're almost like in a competitive state all the time. Stress levels, cortisol levels must be really high all the time. How do you balance that?
And I think I didn't realise it at the time until I turned pro and I had that forced break with my stress fracture. I realised like how my nervous system must have been like just constantly in overtime, really. And then until I relaxed and took that step back, and I think because everyone else around you is in that competitive environment, and it's if you slip up here, you won't get chosen for this tournament, and it's that constant, and it's mentally draining. But when you're in that program, it's you get up and you're at this time, and you're almost institutionalized to be like that, and it is hard, and because you also feel blessed that you've got the opportunity to be on GB and box and do what you're fully funded, and it do make you feel like you are lucky to be there. But at the same time, you're there off your own back, and you have to keep reminding yourself that your talent's got you there, they need you, and not to be so hard on yourself as well.
It's interesting you're saying that you almost become institutionalized. You're training, you're getting up. Obviously the training is regimented. They're your teammates as well as being like the people you're competing against to get on a position. How difficult is it then to trust people in terms of it's natural for people to get down, all people get down. Who do you go to? Was this a case of this is something you keep to yourself all the time? You go home and you let it out there? Yeah. Or did you have a few people that you could open up to without fear of them?
There was a good support network there. They do have people you can talk to and stuff like that. But like you say, you don't want to seem like there's anything up if you want to be chosen for a tournament and stuff like that. So it is hard, but I was lucky enough that I had some good friends who I lived with in the house. We were different weights, so there wasn't that like competitiveness there. And I think people find their own little cliques within GB, and it is quite cliquey in that respect, because there's obviously people at the same weights, and then like they'll hang around in one group with other people who are not the same, and then it does get a little bit like that. I didn't have a problem with anyone on the squad, but yeah, you do form closer bonds with people who you're sharing a house with. If we're having a bad day, it's like we took it in turns really to speak to each other about it. And yeah, like I said, I've made some really good friends on the squad, and but it is a very tough environment, physically, mentally, emotionally. But yeah, there is good things to take from it as well. And I think looking back, you just got to take what you can from GB, because they take what they can from you.
I think what it does give you, any environment like that, when you're able to, I was going to use the word escape, I don't think that's the right word. When you take a step back and you look back and you see how mentally strong you have become because of it, that is going to just be great for the foundations of your professional career and beyond. I also understand, crazy woman, you were studying at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know why, but I decided to do my master's degree at Sheffield Hallam at the same time that I was training full time as well, which was very challenging, and I've just completed it at the end of last year. Actually, they were very good. Actually, they give us quite a lot of leeway. Then you're always training full time with extension deadlines and stuff. With it being mentally exhausting, the boxing world, it's nice just to have something. For me personally, have something outside of boxing that I can get my mind off the sport. I find that is a sort of form of escapism for us as well. So although it was hard work, I did enjoy having that other side.
Yeah. Why boxing? What led you to boxing in the first place?
I've always been like really sporty. I used to play football for Sunderland under 18s.
Another one who's good at football.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was good. I used to enjoy it, and I used to get stuck in. That was my job. But then I did a bit of Thai boxing. I never competed in Thai boxing. Taekwondo, got my black belt in Taekwondo. So I've always been into martial arts. And then I remember watching the Rocky films and getting like really inspired by the Rocky films. I'm going to join the boxing gym, and made my friend at the time from school get the bus to the boxing gym with us. And I loved it. I loved the training. And then I kept going. She died off, but I kept going. And yeah, then I was doing other sports at the time, so I never competed as a junior or a youth. It wasn't until I was 18 I had my first amateur bout as a senior. And it'd been a long time coming.
Please don't forget to like, share and follow, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you know when we drop new content.
I never really thought I'd make a career of it. I like the discipline of boxing, and I like the training, and I like to push myself really hard. And yeah, I got the bug really, and then entered my first championships, and then once you keep winning, you start taking it a little bit more seriously. And yeah, after I finished my undergrad degree, then I started taking it quite seriously then, and took my training seriously, trained hard, and the success came with that, and just took it one competition at a time until I won the ABAs. And that first time I won the ABAs and I got my GB assessment, I think that's when I thought, I'm actually all right at this. Yeah.
I think a lot of, particularly females, they go into it and they think either, oh, I'll just do it as a hobby, or I'll have one bout, and then all of a sudden, like you say, you start winning, feels good, and then actually you start to believe that you've got some talent. I know you were you won the GBs as well, but you were two-time national champion. Just give me a few of the accolades that you've got.
Yeah, so I won my first ABA title in 2018. That was with Berkeley Boxing. And then got a GB assessment off the back of that. And
was that 2018? Did you in the quarters or quarters? Was it in the finals? You fought Shannon Courtney?
Yeah, I fought Shannon Courtney. Yeah,
she was boxing for IBC then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the year I won it. The first time I won it, and got me GB assessment off the back of that, and then won the Tri-Nations a few months later, then got me letter to say I was on the GB squad, which is unbelievable news at the time. And then, I think I went to my first tournament in Poland, got a bronze medal in my first tournament. And then, been at training camps and tournaments all over, won gold, silvers, bronzes, and been to some fantastic training facilities all over Europe, really. I was still part-time, and then in 21 I was thinking about turning professional, actually. I was getting a little bit frustrated as an amateur, to be honest, on the GB squad. Still on part-time, but in the meantime, I was going around and sparring the likes of Natasha and Chantel, and it was really considering turning professional at that time, and did a little bit of research and stuff like that. And then I remember I did a multi-nation camp in Sheffield, and there was some sparring from all over the world. And I think my sparring with the pros had brought me on quite a bit. And when I went down there and sparred some of these international girls, sparred really well all week, did really well. And then Rob McCracken said, I'm going to put you onto the podium squad. And I think it was once I made my mind up that I was turning pro and took that pressure off myself, I actually performed even better at GB. And then they put me onto the podium squad. So I thought,
mad, isn't it? You had one foot out the door.
One foot out the door, and then I almost all set up, really. I was ready to go, and then they reeled me back in. And I'm pleased in a way, because I'd worked really hard to get to that point, and to not get onto the podium the full time and experience that. I think I would have sold myself short a little bit. I had another couple of years with JB after that, and I'm pleased because I got a lot more experience.
I think what's happened also is you're saying that you didn't have the junior experience, but you've made up for that. You came in, you did well in the seniors, and then obviously you get on GB, you're there full time, you're getting the best of everything. So realistically, yes, I understand it must be incredibly frustrating when you have the dream to go to the Olympics and then it doesn't materialise. But you can take the positive of, do you know what, I've got that much experience in bag.
Yeah.
And do you feel almost like this, with hindsight, is this the right time? Looking back, 2021, obviously we had COVID and everything. Lots of people weren't training. I don't think there were like so there wasn't a massive interest in female boxing. Now, fast forward 2024, it is flying. Do you think now, do you know what? Everything has actually worked out perfectly for me.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in trusting timing of everything, and I think that everything's happened at the right time for us. And yeah, the experience I got in those extra 2 years when I could have turned pro, I think they'll be of good use for us in my professional career, and helped us develop mentally as well, physically. Like, I'm a lot stronger, and yeah, GB taught me how to program my training as well. I think I learned a lot from GB. Yeah, you get a good idea of how to do your S&C properly, your running, because when you turn pro, you're on your own a little bit. So to get that structure, and I've taken that over, and I still train, maybe not as hard constantly all the time, but I know what to do to get fit for a fight. And yeah, I've learned that from GB as well.
Yeah. And then you said that you had a stress fracture. That's not the proper
Stress
English.
fracture. Yeah.
Stress fracture. Again, must have been not only really painful, but really frustrating. But again, is that something that you're like, oh, actually, this has given my time, my body, my mind, just a little bit of a break. It's given it time to heal, and actually, I'm probably more dangerous now. Do you know?
Yeah, I think so. And like you say, you don't realize how fast you're going until you stop and slow down. And I think, yeah, it was probably like the universe's way of teaching us. Look, hang on a minute, and take a little break and readjust, because I'd gone from a tournament. I think it might have been out in Poland actually, and then we had our summer break for GB. You get 2 weeks off in the summer, and then I'd gone straight to train with Jamie Moore and that down in Manchester. So I didn't really give myself much of a break, and I had a niggling back for months, but never really thought much of it, and then just pushed through it. As sort of the GB mentality is, you got to get through it, because if you don't go to a tournament, someone else is going in your place, and that sort of mentality was hard to get out of. So I think, although it was a forced break, it allowed me to get my dissertation done. That was due in at the same, whether I got that done or not, if I didn't have this forced break. So I got my dissertation done, completed my master's degree, had a bit of had a bit of a reset, and just realised like how much of a break I needed, really, and that I needed to slow down a little bit and respect myself a little bit more, respect my body a bit more. I'm a bit more lenient with myself, and I do a lot more sort of self-care. I do have a lot more respect for my body and what it goes through. Yeah, because I want to do this for as long as I can. Yeah, I've got to treat myself right.